Good evening, welcome to Have I Got News For You? I'm Alan Johnson. In the news this week, on Princess Anne's farm in Scotland, the Duchess of Cambridge regrets offering to help muck out the stables.
That was for the phone.
Into it.
A shocking video of David Cameron's shepherd's hut on fire has gone viral. And lacking the money to upgrade his son's moped, the trombonist of the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra does his best to make up for it. On Ian's team tonight, a political journalist and author who has written 2 books of a Brexit trilogy. The 3rd book is not out yet, but then again, nor are we. Please welcome Tim Shipman. And with Paul tonight, a comedian who says if she'd had more of an education, she thinks she'd have been a politician. I think she's overestimating what's required. Please welcome Janie Godley. And we start with the biggest stories of the week. Ian and Tim, take a look at this.
Theresa Mayhem in her £900 coat. There she is, flying off to Brussels to be told what to do and say and think. The real Prime Minister.
On the left.
The traitor's kiss. The Politburo, or is that Bexley Heath Council? And a man on a bike.
Well, this is your special subject, Tim. I mean, you've known what's not happening years before the rest of us.
No, it's a difficult time at the moment. We have this extraordinary situation with Brexit where journalists have never been so well plugged in, the leakiest cabinet in history, half of Downing Street trying to tell you what's going on. Not one of them has a clue what's going on in the Prime Minister's head.
Has anything happened?
Well, she's been to Brussels and everything has changed.
Every week.
People say, oh, we missed Brexit Day, March the 29th. It's not happened. But if you listen to what they're saying in Brussels, they're saying, well, actually, we might give you another extension and we can still have a Brexit Day. And there are some people there who think, well, let's have it every year, every single March the 29th. Theresa May or somebody like her will trot off to Brussels and say, we'll have another 12-month extension. And Brexit will still definitely be happening, but we'll just sort of...
You know. And we could tell everyone we've left and then just not mention it again.
Exactly. But Halloween, you know, is the next cut-off. Is October.
Do you think that was a joke by the Europeans?
It was a very good joke.
I think it was a joke.
But you've got Tory MPs going around saying, oh, well, we must dress up as something for Halloween, you know.
What about as MPs?
Well...
And they could go around scaring people with some ideas.
I'm going to dress up as a red bus.
But are you going to have lies written down the side of you?
Of course I am. Big lies will be written all over it. And then I'm going to dress as a tramp and knock on doors and ask for apples, because that's what we'll be living on till December.
What did the French want us to do? You two can join in as well. This is,
no, I'm not interested, to be honest.
No.
I'm really not. Join the rest of the audience.
What did the French want us to do?
I don't know. What did the French want us to do?
They want us to bugger off straight away, but instead we're going to have a flextension.
Oh.
We've never really understood the French, have we? Here's how the BBC News channel covered Emmanuel Macron's meeting with the Irish tea shop.
Pour exprimer une nouvelle fois l'unité et la solidarité avec l'Irlande des 27 pays de l'Union européenne dans le cadre du Brexit.
Is it Alan's fault, Brexit?
I think there'd be a better chance on a second referendum because I wouldn't be running the Labour campaign, so that would obviously be a big plus. Labour supporters voted 66% to remain everywhere, right across the country, so that was our job. And I'd like to thank Jeremy Corbyn for all his help. So now, any agreed deal between the Conservatives and Labour will have to have legal force to prevent it being unpicked by a future Tory leader. This is known as
Boris
the Boris lock. A lot of husbands have had to put one of those on their doors. What has Boris done for the second time in 6 months?
Nothing.
Gone home in the same direction?
No, it's news.
He failed to declare the earnings from a house and also from his book.
Spot on. He's failed to declare financial interests to the Common Standard watchdog in time.
Yes.
Imagine I didn't declare my house. Do you know what would happen? I'd get the jail. See if you're Boris Johnson, they're just like, oh, ruffle his head. I'd give him a right good heavy boot up the arse.
And I'd sponsor you to do it.
Yes.
What has a man called Fuzz been doing to hit back at Boris? You'll like this, Janie.
Fuzz.
This is a chap who has, as they say, dipped his Johnson in Boris's beer.
Boh.
He said, the opportunity of a lifetime arose. I think there can be very few of us that haven't sat around thinking about an opportunity of dipping our private parts into the drink of a cabinet minister or a former cabinet minister. It happens to me 2 or 3 times a week. So far, the urge has not got the better of me, but this chap...
Did he teabag his beer?
So they call
I think that is the implication.
It's called teabagging, Alan.
Is it?
As I'll show you later.
OK. It was a bit of a shock for Boris, who thought he'd ordered a bishop's finger. What do the people of Britain really want?
A man that can have sex till 4 in the morning and turn into a pizza.
Kind of.
A military strongman is what we're
Yes.
apparently looking for, according to the polls.
Well, that's what Janie just said. So, a strong man, according to a poll conducted by the Hansard Society, the survey found that 54% of those polled want a strong, rule-breaking leader to sort things out.
That's a depressing statistic, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, why can't we have a strong woman?
You can, but for the purpose of this survey, they were talking about strong men for some reason. So what sort of strong man... What sort of strong man do you want? Someone like, perhaps, the great Strong-O. He's a Victorian strongman, actually called Eugen Sandoff. He was very popular in Victorian times.
Yeah.
He released a book of exercises you could follow if you wanted a body like his. Here's one.
Wow. Because you know that there's nothing makes the ladies get more foamy than a man with a brush with a brick. Well, like...
That's true.
Because it looks like he's going to do a bit of housework.
It does. It does. Or he's tempting a really big mouse, and that's cheese.
Yeah.
According to the Daily Telegraph, under a no-deal Brexit, British holidaymakers would be banned from taking Cornish pasties with them to the EU. Holidaymakers will be forced to smuggle the food past customs officials.
You might not want to eat it after you've smuggled it past customs officials.
Well, this is the question. If you were forced to smuggle a Cornish pasty through customs, how would you do it?
I know.
Go on, then.
Under both breasts, I can get 2 Cornish pasties, 2 bottles of iron brew, and a sausage dug.
Any answers on your side?
We
Can't compete with that.
We haven't worked out why you'd want to take a Cornish pasty to Europe.
You might enjoy a Cornish pasty. It might always be a family tradition to have a Cornish pasty on holiday.
Oh, in Brittany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can keep them warm all the way.
Well, that is the important thing.
Yes. This menopause is not going to waste.
In Westminster, arch-Brexiteer Ian Duncan Smith told Mrs May to step down, adding, a no-confidence vote will almost certainly be lost and will be a humiliation to her. That's Ian Duncan Pott talking about Theresa Kettle. Paul and Janie, take a look at this.
OK, the news James Bond has been unveiled. So this is all secret messages. Secret messages in black and white.
Oh, he's just come back for the Clark Clinic.
Back from the Clap Clinic. not been good news. And, yeah, he's just come out of the Clap Clinic. See, this is a notice board. All the people have been at the Clap Clinic. I must go myself. Prince William has been doing some job experience with MI5, is that right?
Absolutely correct. Prince William spent 3 weeks undercover at MI5, MI6 and GCHQ.
I'm glad you cleared that up. I was really worried because I read the headline and said Prince William spy, and I thought, God, the Russians are good.
What headlines did Prince William's attachment to the Secret Services produce?
They're puns, I suppose, aren't they?
On Granny's Secret Service.
The Sunday Mirror went with Casino Royal.
Oh.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
The Sun plumped for Licence to Will.
Wow.
While the Daily Express
to Will.
went with Harry's fury at claim of Meghan's jewellery.
No Goldfinger. Very simple.
What did Prince William immerse himself in during his time with the security service?
Engine oil.
Was it Prince Harry's browser history?
One source told The Sun he was fully immersed on undercover surveillance operations, not just sitting in front of a computer in an office. Let's have a look. What did he absolutely insist on, according to these news reports?
A code name. So go on.
Dressing up as a cat.
Yeah. A code name. Mr. Tiddles. Meow meow.
According to the Sunday Mirror, he insisted on people calling him William. He doesn't really get this undercover spy thing, does he? Why have the turnip toffs been making the news?
This is the aristocracy in Turnip Land,
Yes.
who are part of the royal set.
Where would Turnip Land be?
Norfolk.
Absolutely. There have been rumours...
I mean, I don't want to lose all the Norfolk viewers immediately. I'm sure there are other things there.
I think both of them are still tuned in. You're OK. There have been rumours of a rift between Kate and Norfolk neighbour, the Marchioness of Cholmondeley. They're once named as a potential contender for Prince William's affections.
Really?
Marchioness. Other friends in the Norfolk set include the Earl and Countess of Leicester, Lord and Lady Cook, and perhaps surprisingly some people who spell their names the way they're pronounced.
There's a lot of Cook going around those circles.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have just set a new world record. What did Harry and Meghan do to achieve it?
Magdalen College, Oxford. Spelt Magdalene.
We have it in Glasgow
Do
with
you?
Mulgai. It's spelt Millingavi, but we pronounce it Mulgai.
And you have Menzies up in Scotland, which is pronounced Mingus.
Mingus, yeah.
And we've got Menzies.
The newsagents.
Yeah. It sells a lot of very, very good publications.
Oh, no, but it also sells private art. So
yes.
that also sells private art. So we must be clear.
They've set up an Instagram account.
Yes.
Harry and Meghan, and it got 8 billion hits on the first minute. The funny thing was, it was the exact day where Prince Harry said that social media was very, very dangerous and you had to watch it and a lot of people should come off it.
Yeah.
And then they launched a site full of pictures of themselves.
Shall we have a look at one of the photos on the @Sussex Royal Instagram account?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
That is one
They've
of the
changed.
pictures. Any idea who that is?
Yeah, that's a fan who had a website called @Sussex Royal, and he was told this isn't yours anymore.
Has he been paid a large sum of money to give it up, do you?
Doesn't look like it.
What sort of paint has been used for the walls of the nursery at the royal couple's new home, Frogmore Cottage in Windsor?
Is it the blood of the poor?
No, it's vegan. The paint is
What?
vegan.
They're going to eat the walls.
Paint has got milk in it and other...
Oh, I see, yeah.
Yeah. Why would that have been good news for a 90-year-old man in New York? Because he consumed half a tub of green paint thinking it was mint-flavoured yoghurt. The good news is that he was absolutely fine, although now he refuses to go anywhere without 2 coats on. Here's the paint. And here's the man in question.
If it killed him, at least he would have had a lovely finish. Oh, you like the two coats, you didn't like that?
This is the news that Prince William has spent 3 weeks on secondment with the Secret Service. It's been reported that this is the first time a member of the royal family has worked for the security services. But actually, the Queen's uncle, Edward VIII, was a spy, though, to be fair, that was for the Nazis. His father, Charles, was involved in the Cold War, or as it's also known, his first marriage.
Yeah, too soon, isn't it?
Prince William observed operations against ISIS targets, the real IRA, and the far right in Britain, or as William calls it, Operation Grandad. And so to round 2, the picture spin quiz. Fingers on buzzers, teams.
This is the very irate people of Cornwall who are upset that weathermen are standing in front of their part of the nation.
She's not, though.
No.
She's got the hang of it.
This is Cornwall-compliant weather forecasting.
Yeah. It looks as though it's very hot in Cornwall, though.
The Isle...
Quite like to go.
Absolutely right. I think we should have a look at some examples that have been cited by the people of Cornwall. Here's the first one. And then there's this.
Yeah.
And finally, how far have the Cornish complaints gone?
To London.
All the way to the top of
Yeah.
the Cornish Tourism Board. The head of Visit Cornwall, Malcolm Bell, met with the BBC and Met Office officials for Clear the Air talks this week. BBC weather presenters are now standing well back from the map.
They've stuck a great big 9 on it now, though. They won't be happy with that.
Why might the Met Office change the way it names storms?
Oh, if you've got a storm with a female name, people don't take it quite so seriously. This is what I've heard.
Spot on.
Storm Elsie, they don't take any notice of that, but Storm Roger, they're more worried about.
Absolutely. They believe storms given female names are more dangerous because people take them less seriously.
That's not the experience in my house, I have to say.
Well,
Nor mine.
let's test that out.
Let's test it out.
Which storm would you be more afraid of, Storm Tim or Storm Janie?
Storm Jane.
Janie.
That's unanimous. How did the wrong camera angle cause embarrassment for Sky Sports this week? It's a cracker, this. It was an unfortunate moment on Sky Sports when presenter Kelly Cates hands over to former footballers Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher. Let's take a look at this remarkably subtle bit of TV direction.
After 3 wins in 4, particularly after the win against Brighton, we're expecting he's going to be in a good mood. How significant was that last win?
It was a huge win. I mean, relegation game the form as well. Yes, I mean, no points on the trial at this late stage.
It's great, isn't it?
That's done as a joke, surely.
No.
I think
Really?
it was the way the direction, the camera angle we're taking it from, but she was expecting it to happen, I think.
Right, yeah.
Who's not happy with South London Football Club, Sydenham United?
Their oldest fan, Sid Ham. Doesn't like the way they've taken his name.
No, sadly not.
No.
London rivals Streatham Rovers, who tweeted this ahead of a meeting between the two teams this week. Here's the team sheet for tonight's game, and we are absolutely furious because Sydney have fielded their players to spell out SRFC shit.
That's beautiful.
Streatham went on to tweet, "Glad some of you are finding this amusing, but I'll tell you what, the gaffer has stuck this up in our changing room, and that's it. No need for a team talk. The players will be well up for this." They lost 3-1. This is the Cornish Tourist Board complaining about BBC weather presenters. A spokesman for Visit Cornwall said the problem was that people watch the forecast and make snap judgments about whether or not they will travel down for short breaks. To which a spokesman for Visit Salisbury replied, "You think you've got problems?" Fingers on buzzers. Teams.
This must be because it's a wedding cake cut in half and there's a family pet in between. Divorce has become easier.
It's about more couples drawing up legally binding contracts to determine who gets the family pet in the event of a divorce.
Oh, it's a pre-pup.
Yes.
It's called a petnup. A petnup. I thought yours was better. Double the points.
Yeah.
And according to law firm Maguire, 1 in 20 pet-owning couples now have a petnup. Is this a sensible idea?
Yeah, I've got a wee sausage dog. If me and my husband split up, I'm taking the dog, he can keep my daughter.
Oh, dear. Who's been forcibly removed from his home of the last 7 years?
This is Julian Assange. His Ecuadorian hosts have finally decided he's delighted them enough. After 7 years of putting up with a lot of habits they don't like, including hacking into their president. I believe that was one of the problems,
Allegedly.
wasn't it? Allegedly. Haven't heard that for a while.
The Metropolitan Police who used to stand outside the embassy having to sort of police this at great expense used to refer to him as the tool in the shed.
Shall we just have a look?
Yeah.
There he is. He's been seeking refuge from tyranny, according to the UN.
Well, he did say he would be extradited to America. That was the threat.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he came out, he was arrested. I don't quite get this, because Trump benefited hugely from WikiLeaks.
Yep.
I mean, without it, he probably wouldn't be president. You'd think he'd give him a medal.
Apparently such a serious offence that they're not putting him in jail, they're just going to stick him in the Irish backstop and leave him there.
Never be found again. This is the news that more couples are drawing up legally binding contracts to determine who gets the family pet in the event of a divorce. Also in the news, the government has introduced legislation for easier divorces. The new guidelines are partly in response to a contested divorce between this couple, Trini and Hugh Owens, who are mushroom farmers. Stinkhorn, Trumpet of Death and Puffballs are just 3 of the names she calls him. Fingers on buzzers.
For the first time, we photographed a black hole. It's the first time it's ever been filmed, photographed, captured. We don't know what's on the other side. It might slow down time, send time backwards. It might create a world where Brexit never happened. It could be anything.
Spot on. Shall we have a look at a close-up of an empty void?
Yeah.
What have scientists had to say about their discovery?
That it's really important.
They're incredibly excited about it. Yuri Yunzi, a scientist based at UCL, said it's literally a gateway out of the universe into something completely unknown.
Yeah.
That's actually the original Vote Leave slogan, but it wouldn't fit on the side of the bus.
Well, Theresa May's very excited about this because it's a whole new entity out there with which we might do a trade deal in due course. And she's just glad there's another despairing vortex sucking in all human life and light, and from which there is no escape.
So this is the news that scientists have released the first ever picture of a black hole. One of the project's scientists described a black hole as an extreme warp in space-time where the 3 dimensions of space and the 1 dimension of time join into a single 4-dimensional continuum. I'm not sure how that works, but I think it's some sort of time loop. Not sure how that works, but I think it's some sort of time loop. Some sort of time loop. Time loop. The Telegraph explained that stellar black holes are formed by the collapse of a massive star. Fingers crossed it's James Corden. And so to the missing words round, and we start with holidaymakers shocked by what in the New Forest?
Old trees.
Very good. No, it's ice cream van war breaking out. The incident this week took place between a Mr. Whippy and a Mr. Softy. Here they are. Having the 2 vans side by side caused an obstruction to other traffic, only made worse when several cones were put out on the road. Next, man who spent 40 years collecting 9,000 beer cans what?
Builds house out of beer cans.
Man who spent 40 years collecting 9,000 beer cans has to give his collection away in order to move house.
It's near enough. He says that downsizing his collection will be painful.
Yes.
This is Nick West from North Somerset. Here's the collection.
Wow.
Nick West from Langford in Somerset claims he used to buy 650 cans of beer a year for his collection. Most of his neighbours see him as compulsive, but in Scotland he's seen as a bit of a lightweight. And finally, Richard Madeley claims he was what while on holiday in France?
Knocked up. Locked up.
A woman?
No. He was given free croissants.
Wow.
This was a headline in a newspaper,
Wow.
is
It
it?
was a headline in a newspaper.
It was disappointing because he'd taken a Cornish pasty with it.
Sweet croissant.
He was given free croissants. Very flaky, puffed up, with a distinctive brown glazed sheen. Richard Madeley is 62. So the final scores are a draw, 6 each.
Ooh.
I thought we'd lost that one.
Yeah.
Very good.
But before we go, there's just time for the caption competition.
Oh, yes, I was going to sing this morning, but I woke up feeling a little hoarse.
Cha-ching!
Well, look, you can't groan and clap because those are two distinct different things.
On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Jim...
Jim?
That's next week.
Is Jim been on?
On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Tim...
He's changed his name.
Paul Merton.
Changed his name. Jim's changed his name.
And I leave you with news that, on a visit to Winsley Gardens, Prince Charles demands to know who just insulted him. Disney defend their decision to get Ken Loach to direct the new Star Wars film. And at a summit in Brussels, Angela Merkel is surprised to learn the full extent of Britain's stockpiling efforts. Good night.
It feels like we do indeed need some new world order. Perfect timing to watch Frankie Boyle, available now on iPlayer. And who out of Ryland, Sarah Pascoe and Mary Portas is the most convincing liar? Find out next here on BBC One.